Hello, my friends. It's time for another Bible story. Who remembers who this man is? I'll give you some clues. He built a big boat and he is a good listener for God. If you remember that his name is Noah, then give your brain a kiss for keeping God's word inside your brain, and give your heart a kiss for keeping Jesus in your heart. I have my little bunny friend that's gonna sit in my lap. I'm gonna put a seatbelt on him, and I am ready to listen to a Bible story. Noah was God's friend. Noah made God happy. Noah tried to do just what God told him to do, because Noah's a good listener. Now, Noah had 3 boys. Their names were Shem, Ham, and Japheth. God said, Noah, make a big boat. Water is coming. Water will cover everything up. You will be safe inside the boat. So Noah did what God told him. God said, make rooms in the boat. So Noah made rooms. God said, make a window in the boat. So Noah made a window. God said, make a door in the boat. So Noah made a door. God said, put something to eat on the boat. So Noah did what God told him. God said, put animals on the boat. So Noah did what God told him. Into the boat went Mr. and Mrs. Cat, Mr. and Mrs. Horse, Mr. and Mrs. Dog, Mr. and Mrs. Pig, Mr. and Mrs. Grasshopper, Mr. and Mrs. Wiggly Worm, Mr. and Mrs. Duck, and more animals too. Look at all those animals. What animals do you see walking into the ark? I see monkeys up there. I see some hippos hiding back there. What do you see? Now you and your family get into the boat. So Mr. and Mrs. Noah got onto the boat. Mr. and Mrs. Shem got onto the boat. Mr. and Mrs. Ham got onto the boat. And Mr. and Mrs. Japheth got onto the boat. And then what happened next? God shut the door. After a while, down came the rain, drip, drip, drip. After a while, up came the water, splash, splash, splash. Soon, what's gonna happen next? Look at, there's the door covered up. Soon, water ran over the streets, water ran over the houses, water ran over the little hills, and water ran over the big hills. Now the boat was floating, but Noah was safe inside. His family was safe inside, and the animals were safe inside. Noah's family had something to eat, so they gave the animals something to eat. Then they waited. They waited until the water went away. They waited until God said, it's time to get off the boat. So Noah did what God told him. Off the boat went Mr. and Mrs. Noah, Mr. and Mrs. Shem, Mr. and Mrs. Ham, and Mr. and Mrs. Japheth got off the boat. Then all the animals got off the boat. They walked and ran and crawled and hopped. Look at all those animals. Then God said, don't worry, the water won't come back. The water won't cover up the world anymore. And God made a rainbow, because the rainbow is God's promise. The rainbow is God's promise that he will not cover up the world with water anymore. My friends, we always know that we can trust Jesus and God, that they will keep their promises, because they love us and they only want to make us happy and make us have what's best for us. Thanks for listening to my story, friends. I'll see you next time. Bye.